As each day brings us closer to the release of Starfield, Bethesda continue to tease us with new details about the universe in which this interstellar adventure takes place. The latest of these lore teasers comes in the form of a timeline detailing the events leading up to Starfield, including a look at how humanity first took to the stars, as well as more information about the game's main characters and factions. But most intriguing of them all are the details about the bitter colony war, a conflict that shapes much of the game's narrative. So stay tuned, Spacefarers, and join us as we dive into the events leading up to our adventures in Starfield. The timeline starts in the year 2050, when humanity starts to settle on Mars. By the year 2100, humans have set up their first permanent home amongst the stars, and they eventually begin exploiting the abundant natural resources housed on Mars through sites like the Cydonia mining complex. By the year 2156, humans arrived in the Alpha Centauri system, 4.37 light-years from Earth. Shortly thereafter, in 2159, the United Colonies were formed, a small collection of worlds that would go on to become a vast interstellar republic, and the largest faction within Starfield. Settling on the world of Jemison in the year 2160, they would go on to build their new sprawling capital city, New Atlantis. In the year 2167, the Cheyenne system is settled by Solomon Co., building its first city, Aquila City, a rough and dangerous town in the frontier of the galaxy that is surrounded by deadly and vicious wildlife. 21 years later, in 2188, Co invites the Volii star system, home of the fishing platform turned pleasure city, Neon, to join with Cheyenne in a new alliance free from the United Colonies. The Freestar Collective is officially born in 2189. Tensions begin to flare up in 2194, when the United Colonies position one of their grand space stations, named the Clinic, in orbit around Deepala in the Narian system. The unaffiliated people of this system, viewing this act as the United Colonies attempting to expand their borders, demand the station be removed. When this demand is refused, the free peoples of the system vote to join the Freestar Collective, who then mobilize ships ready to defend the system in 2195. In 2196, both the United Colonies and Freestar Collective move fleets into the Narian system, a move that marks the start of the Narian War, a war that drags on for 20 years, until in 2216, the Treaty of Narian is signed, bringing about a fragile peace. During this peace, the Freestar Collective founds the Freestar Rangers in 2221. A group of elite space sheriffs, they are tasked with upholding peace in the Collective's territories. In 2275, Constellation, a grouping of great explorers, scientists, and adventurers, is founded by Sebastian Banks, making home in a building known as the Lodge, located in New Atlantis. Some decades later, Barrett, one of Starfield's companions, joins Constellation in 2305. The fragile peace between the Collective and the UC begins to break in 2307, when the Collective begins farming on the planet Vesta in the Lunara system. This prompts a response from the UC in 2308, claiming that establishing a colony in a fourth star system violates the Treaty of Narian. As diplomatic talks break down, United Colonies ships lay siege to Vesta, killing all those left defending the planet. This marks the start of the Colony War. Back on New Atlantis in the year 2310, Constellation comes into possession of a strange alien artifact, storing it away in their archives. After a few years of war, the Colony Wars conclude with the Battle of Cheyenne, where a flotilla of civilian and military ships from across the Collective take down the major ships of the UC Navy via ingenious hit-and-run tactics. In response to this defeat, the United Colonies go on to found UC Vanguard in 2315. The Vanguard is the United Colonies' own civilian navy, relying on civilians using their own ships, pledging to protect the interests of the United Colonies, and in return they receive citizenship. In 2319, Sarah Morgan becomes the youngest head of the UC Navigator Corps, until the division is shut down a year later. Eager to put her training into use, Morgan joins Constellation. A year later, in 2321, Walter Stroud, co-owner of one of the galaxy's premier starship manufacturers, Stroud Eklund, becomes Constellation's primary financial backer. In 2322, Constellation's ranks are bolstered by the addition of Vladimir Sal, a former member of the ruthless band of space pirates, the Crimson Fleet. In 2325, Sarah Morgan becomes acting chair of Constellation, and they recruit the young theologian, Matteo Catri. Barrett would then rediscover the original alien artifact in the Constellation archives a year later, and a gifted graduate student and scientist named Noel joins Constellation, becoming Sarah Morgan's young protege. In 2327, the three-star ranger Sam Coe and his daughter Cora, potentially ancestors of the collective's founder Solomon Coe, both join Constellation, and a year later in 2328, a character we know little about, named Andrea, joins Constellation. While not long after, Barrett convinces Constellation to purchase the star station L868 and modify it into a deep space scanner, nicknamed the Eye. And then we come in, as in the year 2330, the events of Starfield take place, with us taking on the role of an intrepid spacefarer who, through a series of events, comes to join with Constellation, ready to unravel the mysteries of the universe. Are you looking forward to Starfield? What type of character and playstyle are you gonna go for? Let me know down in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to Lore Tours and get your passport to your favourite fictional worlds. Thanks for watching, catch you next time.